Hello again, friends. Another day of the practice of the principles of the law of attraction. Uh, we are always actually practicing the law of attraction. It's just that for many of us, myself, I was one of that group, that I was doing so without realizing that I was, because we're always doing it, because the law of attraction is always functioning. So we might as well be fully conscious in the practice of it, and choose what we practice rather than just doing so. And it's like and then life is a crapshoot. Life is not supposed to be a crapshoot. Our experience is not supposed to be a crapshoot. We are divinely assigned to have what we want in life. And I realize that for many may seem utterly absurd, and it may seem wildly unrealistic and wildly fantastical and some kind of bizarre statement, and it's not. What is bizarre is that society has, or basically the world, right? Standard societies, pretty much nearly 100% all over the globe, because human nature doesn't really differ that much, right? Our cultures may be diverse, we may have really, but we at our core, we are all of a piece, and societies prove that out. So societal structures and hierarchical structures remain faithful to principles of lack, principles of that there is not enough, and you better get yours as soon as you can, and every time you get something, you take from someone else, because we are dealing with because according to that entire construct, there is a limited quantity of everything, and so it will run out. And so if you don't get yours and make sure you've got yours, it will run out. But also, whatever you get, you are taking from someone else, because there isn't enough for everyone, is what I'm driving at. Sorry. That this concept of the philosophy of lack and the construct of lack is that there is not enough for everyone. And the real truth is that there is an unlimited supply, unlimited and always increasing, and way far, there is an unlimited supply for everyone. And our divine right is to manifest it, to materialize it in our lives. And this is not because we go and will it. We do so because we assign ourselves into the state of being channels of the unlimited. And by setting ourselves in the place of being channels of the unlimited, we no longer have to struggle with the idea that somehow it all has to come from me or you or she or he, and that will run out. Now we are just channels of the absolute unlimited, the ever increasing and absolute unlimited source energy. The ego operates on fear. The further clarity that I wanted to share is that, or the thing I wanted to talk about today, is that the ego functions on fear. That serves a purpose to a point. It serves a purpose to a limited point. And it is very important to pay attention to that. It is a limited degree of usefulness. We do need the ego for some things. Unfortunately, what we're not taught are the great important truths about ourselves. We're not taught growing up. We're not indoctrinated with the truths about ourselves, and we're not given access to this wisdom about finding one's or ascertaining one's place of happiness and then pursuing that relentlessly, or aligning oneself with that relentlessly, because that is the correct place for you to be. That is the only place for you to be, is in your place of joy, in your place of fulfillment, in your place of happiness. Literally, that is the only correct place for you to be. And society is all too eager to continue to push on us that that's an absurd idea and you're ridiculous, and you should suffer, and work is supposed to be hard and painful and frustrating, and you get to be happy on your time off, and that's nonsense. What we need to be taught and what we need to be given is the empowering education in our formative years that really strengthens us and arms us to be victorious in life and really successful. And I'm looking at some notes that I had written earlier, so please forgive me that I keep looking away, but I had said these things and realized that I had found the right words, and I wanted to convey this in this video. So there are a lot of things that I have come to learn in recent years that I had no connection to, no exposure to for far too long, for a criminal time frame. And I know that I have paid the cost for not having that knowledge. So I'm working even more furiously, more passionately, more enthusiastically, and I am more focused even now each day as I practice the principles and engage in meditation and continuously improve my alignment and my connection with source energy. These things about the unlimited source energy that is our divine right to access, the concept that it is our divine calling right, it is our right, it is our only correct place to be happy, that our only purpose in life is to be happy. That concept will meet with a lot of resistance. The ego operates on fear, and any change from what we have become accustomed to will provoke fear. It doesn't matter if the change is a good change. It is important to recognize this. This is something that I take as a lesson to me. Any change provokes a reaction of the ego of fear, because it is unknown, different, and therefore scary. And it does not have to be. As we sit and recognize that the ego is fueled by fear and runs on fear, we can then place it in its, we can then set it in its proper place. And we can then determine that, well, it is useful in certain things, limited things, but in many things, it is really destructive, not productive, not constructive. When we look around at our world, we see abundance everywhere. The trees are abundant with leaves. Pardon me. In winter, they fall off, and then the trees, or in some places, they don't ever fall off. But depending upon where and what the seasons are, location and seasons, trees will cycle through, trees will have their repeating life cycle. and the repeating life cycle, grow leaves and flowers and buds and everything, and then drop all of the leaves, and then maybe be without any leaves, and then a new life cycle. And we all know and fully expect and never doubt that that process will continue in perpetuity. Well, look at lawn, look at the ground, and it is replete with an abundance of grass. Look around at the world, and it is replete with an abundance of growing things. Yes, you could say in wildlife that things have been hunted to extinction. Granted, but aside from that interference, ecosystemic interference, we're not, again, not right or wrong, not good or bad, just looking at the facts. So ecosystemic, whether it be from human or some other source, ecosystemic interference may cause a living organism, plant, animal, such, to become extinct. But aside from that event, just in the natural course, we can look and find abundance everywhere, an abundance of life, an abundance of continuing life, an expansion of life. And we know from our scientists, again, and I've said this in other videos, we know that every single thing in our world is, in fact, comprised of electrons moving at an extremely rapid, spinning at an extremely rapid rate. Something that we in our physical state don't have the senses to recognize or see, but we've been shown this, right? So our scientists have been able to get as far as being able to tell us and tell us the proof of that everything is of electrons. Everything is everything is energy. That we have the proof that tells us that every single thing, everything in the everything is energy. And this is really important to pay attention to. We are all energy, and we are all connected, and we are all of the same unlimited source energy. And it is important to really push away from this philosophy of lack that has been forced upon us and forced into what we're supposed to know is, well, those are facts and reality, and they are not. So given that the real facts of us and where we come from, the real facts are we are all energy, that energy cannot be killed or stopped or something. It all it does is transmute. It cannot be created or destroyed. Energy just is always. It is always, right? It is always. That we are energy, 100%. That everything in our world is energy. Every single thing. That we come from unlimited source energy. That our universe is continuously expanding, also given to us. Up to this point, our scientists have been able to give us the proof of this. So, things that we might, in our language, call magic or miraculous are in fact normal business as usual for the unlimited universe source energy. Just in a day, just another day in unlimited source energy. My work, my efforts are consistently to be in full alignment with that, so that I may see what I need to come into my life, come into my experience, to come into my experience. So in my case, there is a lot of money. that needs to come into my experience, that I need, that is required to come into my experience. There's a lot of money that is required. There, as of tomorrow, March 1st, there is a lot of money that is required to come in to my experience because there are things that need to be paid. And since I don't have the means to acquire, so far to date, I personally, physically, do not have access to that money. I don't have the means to acquire that money. I don't have a resource from which I may acquire that money. So then what remains, since I don't physically, in my physical limited experience, such as it is, right? In my physical experience, such as it is, with its limitations, I don't have that money. And I don't have access to that money. And I don't have a resource to go to. So then the only remaining then is the universe. The only remaining is the unlimited, miraculous, magical universe, which for the universe is not miraculous or magical. It is just in a day's work. So I don't know where the money's coming from. I don't know how, but I'm not concerning myself with how or where. I'm only concerning myself with persisting in the practice of being aligned to be a channel, to allow that money to arrive, to allow that money to materialize, to allow all of the things that need to be paid 100,000 times over. Not even just once, 100,000 times over. So I again state my faith. I hope that this again is helpful. I am giving you the unadulterated truth of my heart. I'm giving you the unadulterated truth of my experience as in my physical experience, and I'm giving you the unadulterated truth of the practice that I am absolutely committed to and will never stop. And I know, I absolutely know without any doubt at all, worrying isn't going to get the results. In fact, worrying will block results because worrying is a negative energy pattern. And so that would create more negative energy reflecting back to me. And I certainly I don't have the luxury of messing around with that. So the only thing that remains, kind of like with Sherlock Holmes, like when you've eliminated all of the possibilities that are not the truth, the remaining possibility has to be the truth. I love that, about Sherlock Holmes. Like when you eliminate all of the things that are absolutely not fact, whatever remains must be fact. And in this case, what remains, the constant, is source energy. So this is my public, again, declaration of faith, my public declaration, or my public, my public statement of gratitude as well. Thank you and appreciation. Thank you, universe. I know that these things are paid 100 times, 1,000 times over. I know that they're paid 100,000 times over. I have no concept of where the money is coming from. I can't concern myself with that because that isn't my domain. The only thing I can concern myself with is, well, all right, it's got to come from somewhere. They've got to be paid. So, all right then. Worrying certainly blocks that, so I won't be sitting worrying. I will simply be remaining in the state of, well, thank you, and thank you, and thank you, and thank you. Thank you, universe. These things have to be paid. So thank you. Yes, they'll be paid. And I'll leave you with that. And I, as always, wish for you an absolutely blessed day.